Hi Anna, I'm Zihan from ClickZ. I'm very happy to have you here today for the interview.
Anna Haffner, large customer sales. I oversee our retail and beauty partnerships.
Awesome, Anna. Nice to meet you. So let's kick off. Reddit is one of the internet's most distinctive platforms, communities built on real peer conversation. So how does that translate into a commercial proposition for retail brands in 2026?
Yeah, I think in 2026, we're all kind of drowning in content, if you will. And the information that people find on Reddit it's really the largest collection of human conversation on the web. And as it turns out, what we've learned over time is that the nature of these conversations is actually really commercial and intent. Over 40% of the conversations on Reddit have to do with folks researching and finding products and learning about what to buy. So, we see the user base on Reddit as high intent and looking to figure out how to take a trip, what to buy, what to wear, and so on.
Awesome. Yeah, high intent group of shoppers looking for products. And then shoppers are increasingly using Reddit to research purchases, reading real reviews and asking for recommendations, vetting brands before they decide to buy. So how are your largest retail clients are actually activating against the behavior, and what does a good look like?
Yeah, so I would say across the industry, we work with large big box retailers, beauty manufacturers, beauty retailers, apparel brands, branded apparel brands. And I think good really looks like when they can harness the power of the community and show up in a way that's super relevant and helpful and actually contributes to the knowledge base that these high intent users are coming to the platform to find. We also see that good means showing up in a measurable way that drives business outcomes that help grow a marketer's brand, their sales, and their business outcomes.
Thank you. And the next question is around measurement. The measurement is the chronic pain point for upper funnel channels. So how are retail brands measuring Reddit's impact?
So I would say we're not necessarily only an upper funnel platform. These days, we're really partnering in a full funnel way, especially with all the major brands and retailers out there. And I would say that there's a variety of measurement approaches. MTA, and we're seeing increasingly that when Reddit is added to the channel mix, various third parties, including Fosfa, have shown that you see a higher ROAS when you're using Reddit simply because it adds incremental reach in those high intent users that we were talking about.
Good to know that it's like a full funnel impact and not just focus on the upper funnel, and then it drives conversion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're as performant, if not more performant, than many of the top social channels.
Awesome. So Reddit just announced collection ads, community overlays like Reddit's top pick this morning, and a Shopify integration as well. So shopping conversations on the platform grew 40% year on year. And how are these new tools changing the conversation you're having with your largest retail account?
It's been really fun because as we've grown our ad offerings on the platform, we've grown our ability to bring marketers and brands right into those deep human conversations on Reddit where they can find that high intent user in just the right moment. And it is a little bit different. You asked about how this is working for the large customer. It's definitely different than what they can find on other social platforms simply because people are having deep and personal conversations on Reddit that they might not be having in other platforms where they're more identity based, maybe a little bit more performative in what the content is from the users. So, we like to say that Reddit's kind of like a place for real talk. If you take apparel, for example, Reddit's kind of like the fitting room where you talk about like the real of how a product works for you. And we think it's a really unique place for apparel marketers, beauty marketers, and so on to be really close to human conversations about their brands.
Absolutely. And I think in this morning's keynote session by Steve, CEO, he was saying, the number one source for you to trust a product or, to try to get on something is a friend and family. And the second source of truth will be Reddit because everyone will jump onto it and then read people's comments and then replies and then decide what to do next. Whether it's a purchase or it's something else. So I think that's a really good point. And then the next question, coming back to Steve's keynote this morning, it was about authenticity in the age of AI. And then he mentioned a lot about trust as a layer. And really that's what makes Reddit so so unique compared to the other social platforms. So breaking through fragmented attention with humanity. And so from your seat working with large retail accounts day to day, what is that actually demand for brands in Reddit?
Yeah. So I think for brands, they need to really understand the way the consumer shopping journey has changed. One data point that we point to a lot is that the word Reddit is appended to a Google search 250 times every second. And I think that data point alone really teaches us that people are going onto Google, but they're trying to find information that's human and not necessarily AI generated. It's not something that can be a generative summary, but is lived real experiences from communities. And I think what that demands of brands, and constantly we're working to partner with brands and consult with them on this, is that you just need to show up in a way that's real and authentic and helpful.
Thank you so much, Anna. So this section is about rapid fire questions,
Oh, right.
and
Okay.
short, snappy answers would be preferred. So the first question, Reddit or Google for purchase intent research, and which matters more to a retail brand right now?
I'm going to have to say both. I think that they're really complementary and the path to purchase is just no longer linear. There's this messy middle of folks researching with multiple tabs open, going deep into Reddit communities. Maybe they start their discovery path at a high level on a platform like Google, but Reddit is really where you come for human information.
I love that. It's both.
Yeah.
Second question, one thing large retail brands constantly getting wrong about Reddit is?
I think in the world of large language learning models, they often come to us asking, like, hey, what's my generative AI strategy? But what they're missing is this piece in the middle where you need to harness the scale and the power of Reddit communities and really make sure that you understand what the conversation is around your brand, what the sentiment is around your brand, and how your brand can effectively be a part of those communities and contribute to them. And oftentimes, I think retailers are so overwhelmed by this AI landscape that they're overlooking that.
Can I almost put it in a way where there is already a community exist in Reddit and brands just need to get familiarized with what language customers are using, what they're interested in,
Yeah,
rather than trying
absolutely.
to configure a community out of the products with their offerings?
Yeah, I mean, Reddit's 20 years old
Yeah.
and, our beauty communities are millions of people, for example. The conversations there go years back and posts and comments live on Reddit. So all of that can be searched and we have our own LLM Reddit answers that can summarize the wisdom of those communities. It's really fascinating. And often we spend a lot of time with brand marketers just looking in that data set and trying to help them understand, for a sporting goods retailer, for example, what are the seasonal baseball apparel goods that moms are searching for this month, right?
Next one, AI is changing how people search and discover products. So does that make Reddit's authentic community signal more valuable, or does it just add more noise to already fragmented picture?
I think in an AI driven world, human conversations become all the more important and helpful. And I think with the fact that people are appending the word Reddit to their Google searches so frequently, we see that they're really seeking out this type of information. And I think with, AI needs human conversation to stay smart, if you will. Right. And so I think that it elevates the importance of what Reddit has been and continues to be kind of in the overall architecture of the internet.
And I guess that's why also we are so keen to attend events like Shoptalk, because human connection.
Yeah, right.
It's any like online chat, virtual calls, etc.
Yeah.
Cool. Last question for you, Anna. So you're in large customer sales, which means you're regularly in rooms where budgets and are defended and channel priorities shift. What's the one thing that a senior marketer needs to genuinely believe to take Reddit seriously at scale this year?
I think one thing they need to really believe is that people are really looking for information they can trust. And I think that they need to understand that the scale and the user base and audience of Reddit continues to grow in ways that other social platforms are not. And I think that's because people come back to the platform continually to find information they can't get anywhere else.
Absolutely. And then one last question, just thinking of that. What's your team's biggest bet in 2026? If you can share that with us.
Our biggest bet is that this is the year that we want to drive measurable business outcomes for our partners. And we really want to be a foundational part of their marketing mix and something that they know when they partner with us, they are going to drive growth.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anna, for your time.
Yeah, great.